Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Jacob Hedges alongside Matt Wilson and Cody Hammonds. Today on deck, we'll talk about MSU winning the OVC tournament. We'll also make our predictions for what will happen this season in the MLB. It's all coming up next on the Game Plan.
J.J. Watt has stirred up a lot of opinions with his recent signing with the Arizona Cardinals. How do you guys feel about him making the move to Glendale?
I think it's a very interesting move. I mean, he's been guaranteed $23 million over the next 2 seasons with his new contract. I think the biggest shock is just him choosing the Cardinals, because here he was last season talking about how he felt sorry for the Texans fans, and he was sorry he let them down because they should be winning games and going far in the competition. However, they didn't. And so I think it wasn't a surprise that he left. I think the biggest surprise is that he joined the Cardinals. But I think with DeAndre Hopkins being there, that was definitely a big flag for him, saying I could go there and we might be able to do something. And I think the Cardinals will be very exciting to watch next season with one of the best defensive football players I've ever watched.
Based on what you said, Jacob, I think it was a good move for the Cardinals. Picking up somebody that's good on the defensive end. I mean, top 5 in the league right now easily, probably number 1. But also he's a veteran. He's been at the Texans forever, and he knows how the game works. He can come in and mentor a ton of the young guys, teach them, what they need to do and how they need to go about things. Maybe not only fix their physical problems, but also, get their mental heads in the right state in order to become a winning team. But at the same time, I don't really think it was what the Cardinals needed. They were struggling on defense a little bit, but their biggest problem lies in offense, and signing J.J. Watt isn't really the answer. It'll help on defense and stuff like that, but it's not the answer that they needed. But I do think that it is the beginning to a process of rebuilding that is going to take years and years, but it's definitely a positive outlook on the beginning of what could be a Super Bowl team in, the next 10 to 15 years.
Well, I kind of want to disagree with that, because I feel like the Cardinals' offense right now is a lot better off than some teams, especially the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also in the NFC. I mean, you have a very great young quarterback in Kyler Murray. You also have DeAndre Hopkins, who is top 2 wide receiver in the league right now, along with Julio Jones and arguably Michael Thomas as well. I think I do agree with you that their problem didn't really lie on defense as much. It relied very much on offensive, like with their O-line and stuff like that. But I do think that it's a good sign for them, mainly because you're going to have one of the best D-lines in the league. With Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt on both sides, you're going to be fending for your life in the pocket all game with these 2 guys on your back. But like you said, I don't think it was in the defensive line. I think it was more in the secondary and your linebackers. But, I mean, at the same time, he's just too good of a player to pass up, and if you can sign him, you sign J.J. Watt. And for me, being a Cleveland Browns fan, I thought he would have been absolutely dominant with the rest of the D-line at Cleveland. But, the rich get richer. In the NFL, and Arizona definitely got richer with signing J.J. Watt. So I'm definitely excited to see them, in this next season, because I think they're going to be really exciting to watch.
Can you just imagine if he did sign for the Cleveland Browns?
Dude, don't put that in my mind right now, because
listen, just hear me out, right? J.J. Watt's on the Cleveland Browns. You've got a very similar situation that the Cardinals have now with all these big names on the roster. So if J.J. Watt was there, would that put Cleveland Browns in Super Bowl talks?
Oh, 100%, because you have Myles Garrett alongside J.J. Watt and Olivier Vernon. And then, not to mention that, but they're way better off than Arizona in their secondary with Denzel Ward. And then, they're just in a way better situation to win than Arizona was, so that's why I was kind of taken back. And then you look at the Pittsburgh situation as well, because they could have signed J.J. Watt with having T.J. just on the roster,
Yeah.
And so I don't think him going to Arizona was completely out of left field because, he does have Hawkins there, and, Glendale is nice enough to live. But I don't know, just there were so many better situations that he could have went, like Cleveland or, like another Super Bowl contender team, maybe even Tampa. But I do think that he didn't take, a worse road, and I think that, him signing with the Cardinals, I don't think it's a bad signing at all. He's definitely going to do well there, and I think the Cardinals are going to benefit from it.
This week, I wanted to highlight MSU on winning the OVC tournament for the first time in 10 years. Here's more on the story. This past weekend, Morehead State Eagles won the OVC tournament against Belmont. This is the first time Morehead State has won the tournament since 2011 when the program was under Coach Donnie Tyndall. The team was led by OVC Freshman of the Year Janai Broom in the tournament behind his 19 points per game and also pulling down 12 rebounds. He finished the championship game with a career-high 27 points and 12 rebounds. He, alongside Skylar Potter, also put up a pretty impressive performance with a double-double in the championship game by finishing with 22 points and 13 rebounds. Finishing third in scoring was Devon Cooper with 14. Belmont had their full squad this time around, especially with getting their starting center Nick Muzinski, who finished with 23 points but eventually fell to the Eagles, barring a 15-point win. I'm Cody Hammonds for the Game Plan.
With all of the recent moves in the MLB and with spring training over, what predictions do you guys think will happen this season in the MLB?
I think when it comes down to it, it's an absolute no-brainer that the top three right now are going to be the Padres, the Yankees, and the Dodgers. The Dodgers, obviously, last season coming off of a World Series win. They're obviously already top tier, but they just added Cy Young Award winner Trevor Bauer. That just incredibly strengthens their lineup. With the Yankees, they're projected coming into the preseason as number 3. They have Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Hicks, and Aaron Judge. They're a strong team. They're younger. They have a good record going into it. I think they're a solid pick for winning it all. And then you have the Padres. They're a solid team overall. With their lineup with Dinelson Lamet, as long as he's healthy, they could end up rivaling the Dodgers.
Well, I think a lot of this season has revolved around California with the Padres, like you said, and the Dodgers as well. I mean, with the Dodgers, they are just unbelievably stacked. You still have Bellinger back. You have Justin Turner back as well. And then, adding Trevor Bauer along in that rotation with Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler. It's just an amazing rotation that they have, to back up that, great starting lineup that they have. And with the Padres as well, I mean, they got Yu Darvish in the offseason, to go alongside Mike Clevenger in their starting rotation. There's a lot of speculation on if Fernando Tatis will, go on to win MVP in the NL. So I think with everything happening, that it's going to come down to the teams in California, with them being so powerful in that aspect, and also, to boot that, in the AL, there's just not a lot of competition. I mean, we talked about the Yankees before with them also adding Kluber to that rotation with Garrett Cole. But aside from that, man, there's not really much competition that the Dodgers can face besides the Padres.
And I agree with both of you guys. I mean, you've got the Indians in a poor sort of disarray right now, and that's my favorite team. I'd be a fool to be sitting here on camera and not even mention the Cleveland Indians. But I completely agree with you guys. I think it's going to be a battle for the West, and then that battle for the West will extend all the way to the World Series. What I think is the most important thing and what could throw curveballs into this season is the prospect of fans coming back to the stadiums to watch live MLB baseball. There's already a whole list of teams that have said that they will have an opening day and they will allow a certain amount of fans. The Indians and the Cincinnati Reds both have said that they will allow fans on opening day, whether that's 20% capacity, 30% capacity. But you add fans back into a lineup that, there hasn't been fans for almost a year, if not longer now. I think the fans could change games where you'll see an underdog crush someone that shouldn't be getting crushed. So I think it'll be very interesting this season. Since this episode is about Morehead State basketball, I decided to go back out this week and show my athleticism in a dunk contest. Let's see how it went. So for this week, I wanted to, showcase my abilities on the basketball court. Obviously, we're not at a basketball court. However, I wanted to wish best of luck to the Morehead State basketball team and offer my skills in the court. So if you guys need help, you know where to find me.
With how crazy this season has been in college basketball, it's been very interesting to see how it has all played out. Who do you guys think will do well in the tournament this year?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have to all agree that Gonzaga is looking like the team that's going to have to be beat. I mean, they're 28-0. I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to lose a game this season. But I think all of us can agree that sitting here in this great freaking city of Morehead, Kentucky, and not say that we are excited for our basketball team to be in the March Madness tournament. I mean, this is so exciting. It's been it's been a decade. Last time we were there was 2011. So I think everyone in the city of Morehead, Kentucky, and alumni all over the country will be super excited to see their alma mater and our current alma mater playing in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, I think to go into that, being a local myself, living through the 2011 tournament run, and then, it combating with the tournament run that we're going through now, it's absolutely unbelievable to see. I've never seen such a well-rounded team with the team that we have now. I mean, with Janai Broom being, OVC Freshman of the Year, and also with Skylar Potter being, the player that he is, along with Devon and Talon Cooper. I mean, there's just so much to see from that team. And, being projected 8th in the polls, like we said last week, and, to go to them winning the OVC tournament, having to go through Eastern Kentucky in their last season, as OVC participants, and then having to go through Belmont as well with, their full roster. It's absolutely unbelievable to see. But to go back to Gonzaga, I think Gonzaga is going to be the team to beat in the NCAA tournament. They kind of had a skid with BYU, almost dropping that game, but, managed to survive in that one. But, aside from that, Gonzaga is really going to be the team to beat. I mean, there's teams out there like Michigan, like Baylor that, can rival those teams and, possibly might be able to make a run in the tournament. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's going to be Gonzaga.
I do want to touch on what you said there, Matt. I do think it's awesome. Our Eagles are going to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. That's amazing. We've had outstanding team play. Janai Broom, Devon Cooper, all the guys coming together. But another thing that I wanted to touch on is the NCAA tournament in general. Gonzaga coming out the gate, they're looking like the front runners. They're looking like the top dogs. They're 28-0. But when it comes down to it, going undefeated all season and winning the NCAA tournament is an absolute feat, and it's absolutely hard to do. I think it's going to be tough for them. They had a close run with BYU. And then you also mentioned Michigan. Michigan's a good team, but we just saw the other day that Tom Izzo and the Spartans beat Michigan. So it was a huge upset. Nobody expected it. And then another thing in the college basketball world right now is the fact that, we have teams like UK, UNC, and Duke, who are all top-notch teams, top-notch schools, always competing for 1 and 2 seeds that are not even considered for the tournament right now. UNC coming into it is considered for the tournament. But Duke and UK, they pretty much have to win out in order to get to the tournament.
Yeah. Well, you talked about that just now with UNC, Kentucky, and Duke as well not being considered, to be in the tournament just because of how the records have been. And, from a college basketball fan, that's absolutely shocking that you're not going to see all of those teams. UNC has a shot to make it.
Yeah.
But as far as Duke and Kentucky, they are absolutely phased out. They can only win the SEC tournament to get in, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So, like you said, it's definitely been one of the more weirder college basketball seasons because of everything that's happened so far. But I think this NCAA tournament is going to be one for the ages.
Thank you for joining us here on the Game Plan. I'm Jacob Hedges alongside Matt Wilson and Cody Hammonds, and we'll see you next time.